This time, Ed Stafford is in real trouble. The fierce cold of the forest has shaken him to the core. It seems he's no longer able to endure the biting chill. Let's find out what happened. The location of this challenge is Venezuela, a vibrant and diverse natural masterpiece. From the snow-covered peaks of the Andes Mountains to the vast Llanos plains where herds of cattle graze under the endless sky. The lush Amazon rainforest hides thousands of rare animal and plant species, while Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall in the world, plunges dramatically from sheer cliffs, creating a breathtakingly majestic scene. Along the Caribbean coast, soft white sands and crystal-clear waters make Venezuela a paradise for sea lovers and adventure seekers alike. Ed is now aboard the plane, heading to the challenge location. After a safe landing, he strips off his clothes, carrying only his camera and emergency survival kit. Before beginning his journey, he stands on a hilltop, taking a moment to admire the breathtaking beauty of the natural landscape. Then, he grabs his backpack and begins descending the mountain. The terrain here is steep and slippery, so he carefully watches his surroundings as he moves, not wanting to risk injury. Along the way, he peels some tree bark and weaves it into a grass skirt, and it seems he's quite fond of his new outfit. To look more like a true primitive man, Ed smashes a piece of red quartz to craft a jungle knife, a tool sharp enough to cut and useful for hunting. As the sky begins to darken and the temperature drops rapidly, he knows that staying here too long could mean freezing to death. Without hesitation, he picks up the pace and heads down the mountain. Along the way, he spots a wild beehive clinging to a cliff face. The thought of sweet, wild honey is just too tempting to resist. Ignoring the angry swarm, he bravely lifts a rock slab and pulls out the honeycomb. The taste is absolutely divine, hands down the best thing he's eaten since the challenge began. Carefully watching every step, it doesn't take long before Ed reaches the riverbank, a spot that seems perfect for setting up camp for the night. He knows he must act fast to build a shelter before darkness falls. The tent has to be large and sturdy enough to withstand the heavy rains common in this region. But just as he's about to lay the roof with leaves, the sky opens up and the rain starts pouring. Everything is quickly spiraling out of his control. That night, Ed had an unforgettable experience. As temperatures in the forest plummeted, his shelter, still without a proper roof, offered no protection from the cold. His body trembled uncontrollably, and signs of hypothermia began to set in. Not wanting this to become his final survival journey, Ed was left with no choice but to use his emergency rescue kit to save himself. Without it, he wouldn't have made it through the night. After a terrifying night, Ed's body had grown weak, but he knew he had no choice. He had to finish roofing his shelter, or he'd be reliving the same nightmare again. Gathering as many fresh leaves as he could find, he pushed through his exhaustion and got to work. By midday, the shelter was nearly complete. Next on his list, dry firewood. But in such a damp rainforest, finding dry wood was almost a luxury. Just when things seemed hopeless, Ed stumbled upon a majestic waterfall. The sight filled him with excitement, and he couldn't resist moving closer for a better look. But in his eagerness, he slipped and fell, nearly plunging straight into the water below. However, what caught Ed's eye was the lifeless body of an animal lying beneath the waterfall. It seemed the heavy rain from the previous night had swept it down the cascade. As Ed pulled it from the water, he realized it was a yellow-throated marten. Using a rock, he scraped off the fur and examined the meat. Its flesh still looked fresh and edible. Wasting no time, he processed it and carried his unexpected prize back to camp. This gift from nature instantly lifted his spirits. He then made his way down to the plains in search of dry wood. After gathering what he could find, he returned to camp and resumed his mission to light a fire. To his surprise, luck was on his side once more. Within minutes, a flame sprang to life. Finally, Ed could grill the meat and enjoy a warm, satisfying meal. He skewered the marten's organs and grilled them over the fire, turning them left and right to get an even roast. And just like that, the meal was ready. Taking a big bite, Ed savored the rich, smoky flavor of the grilled skewer. All the exhaustion from the previous day seemed to melt away with each chew. Now, with a full belly and a warm fire, it was finally time to get some well-deserved rest. After a restful night's sleep, Ed woke up the next morning to continue enjoying the gift Mother Nature had given him. Unlike previous challenges where hunger constantly stalked him, this time he had plenty of food and the luxury of eating whenever he wanted. Over the next few days, Ed kept things simple, wandering around the area to gather firewood for grilling meat. He also took time to expand his shelter, making it more spacious and comfortable. To avoid getting soaked by the damp forest floor, he crafted a simple bed for himself. Lying down on it, Ed finally allowed himself a moment to relax, soaking in the peaceful, wild beauty of this fascinating life. In the blink of an eye, it was already day 4. When Ed woke up, he was met with bad news. His camp was at risk of flooding as the river's water level was rising rapidly. But that wasn't even the worst part. The real problem was that he had run out of food and needed energy fast. Ed set his sights on the fish in the river, deciding they would be his next target. He noticed that palm fronds were perfect for crafting a trap. So, using every survival trick he knew, from leaping, chopping, pulling, to bending, he finally gathered all the materials needed to build a fish trap. Not stopping there, Ed even munched on some palm heart, which was soft and edible, giving him a quick boost of energy. But on his way back to camp, he suddenly spotted a tuft of fur on the ground. His instincts kicked in. There was definitely a predator nearby. He needed to get back to camp immediately. First, Ed rolled up some vines into a sturdy circular frame. Then, he split the palm trunk into several branches and secured one end of each branch to the vine ring. After that, he wrapped palm leaves tightly around the structure to prevent any fish from escaping. Lastly, he placed some bait inside and carefully carried the trap down to the riverbank. Just as he finished setting it up, the rain began to pour. With nothing else to do, Ed returned to his shelter to rest and wait for the rain to pass. After a while, when the downpour had eased, he made his way back to the river to check the trap, but unfortunately, not a single fish had been caught. Sunlight finally broke through on day 7. Like every morning, Ed headed down to the river to check his trap, and look at that. He actually caught a fish this time, and it was nearly the size of his finger. That thing could probably feed 3 or 4 people. Time to gather some firewood and grill this catch. But while searching for wood, Ed stumbled upon something unsettling, several piles of scat on the ground. Judging by the size and shape, it was clearly left by a predator, likely a leopard or lion. Staying here any longer would be dangerous. Without hesitation, he rushed back to camp. There, Ed grilled the fish he had caught earlier. He took a bite, and just like that, it vanished into his mouth. No flavor, no texture. It was gone before he could even register it. In the blink of an eye, the final day had arrived. Before heading home, Ed checked his fish trap one last time, and to his surprise, he had caught 2 fish. He brought them back to camp and grilled them over the fire, enjoying a hearty meal of fish before returning home. When he spotted the rescue helicopter approaching, he quickly made his way to a nearby clearing, boarded the helicopter, and headed back home.